Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely true.
Me, I have one. So growing up, I lived in North Carolina and our house was 1000% haunted. My sister follows me on here. Like, if she sees this video, she'll corroborate my story because Jesus fucking Christ. So when I was little, my dad was overseas. He was in the military. And so then when he came home, I think I was probably like 8, maybe 9. No, I was 8. And when he came home, I was like, oh, I want to sleep in the bed with daddy. Like, I want to sleep with dad. And he's like, yeah, of course. So I slept in his bed and his door was open. And I was up that night late reading with a flashlight because I was like, oh, I'm going to blow his socks off reading this book to him. And that night, I heard footsteps coming up the stairs. And it was like keys jangling. And so I like go under the covers, have the covers up to here. And in the doorway, I see an apparition of my father. My dad is laying next to me, but I see my dad as plain as day. Oh, it makes me sick just thinking about it. He is like a little bit transparent, like I can kind of see through him, but it's my father. It's 2000s glasses on the back of the head, spiked cargo shorts with the keys on the carabiner. Like it was exactly my dad. Then he starts going, come here, come here, Vivian. It's my name. Come here, Vivian. And I was like, oh, way. And I put my covers over my head. And when I looked back out, he was gone. I have so many other stories about that house, but that's the one that sticks with me the most because it scared me so bad. I'll tell you one. I don't remember this. This was told to me by my dad because I was a baby when it happened. But so there is basically 3 stories for our house. There's like the downstairs level that has a pool table, like billiards. And we are on the top floor, so 3 floors above that. And I'm a baby, like baby, sleeping in my crib, can't get out. And then one night, my dad hears me crying. And he goes to my room, crib empty, no baby. He starts freaking out, obviously. And he's searching around the house, following my cry. I'm downstairs, 3 stories down, on top of the pool table. I'm sat on the pool table, like holding a pool ball, crying. I'm telling you, I was probably like 14 months, 15 months. You cannot get out of your crib. Nor could I walk down all those stairs and then get on top of a pool table. Then what? And in that house, me and my sisters, we were on top of the stairs. They're a lot older than me, and they know this story. We were on top of the stairs and we were looking down into the darkness. Nobody else was home. And we were just like playing with a bouncy ball, like throwing shit down there. You know how kids are stupid. And we threw a bottle cap down there, and it threw back at us. Like,
Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely true.
When I was in the 4th grade, I was best friends with this kid in my class, and he would always stay the night with me, like, a lot. And so after several months of this, I was really annoyed about it because we never stayed the night at his house or anything. We always stayed the night at my house, and this was boring for me because I wanted to stay the night at somewhere that wasn't my house. And so after, like, a while of asking him, he would always, like, blow me off. He finally was like, okay, fine, like, you know, you can come stay the night at my house, but if anything weird happens, you can't freak out about it. And that should have been like a sign, but you know, at the time I was like, what, he must mean like his parents get in fights or something, whatever, you know, it's fine. So we go over there, and it's an old school Victorian style house, and if you saw this house in a movie, you'd be like, man, that house is definitely haunted. But you know, whatever. They give me the tour of the house, and his bedroom was on the opposite side of the house from his parents' room. This is a big house, and the room next to his bedroom, it shared an adjoining wall, was this like big walk-in closet that had like hats and coats and shoes and all sorts of stuff, I guess, that wouldn't fit in their normal closets, all in this room, but it was all really well organized and everything along the walls and hung up and everything. And so that night after dinner, as 4th grade boys are gonna do, we wanted to stay up all night playing video games. So we're sitting there, we're crushing Mountain Dews, we're playing Mortal Kombat 2, having a blast. And it's very late, I don't know what time, 2, 3 in the morning, I don't know. All of a sudden, there is just this like a slam, into the wall in like from that walk-in closet room. I was just, something slams into the wall. And I look over at him like, and he just looks annoyed. Okay. And he's like, I told you if you were going to come stay here, if anything weird happened, like you can't freak out. You told me. So I'm trying to power through, you know, I'm trying to be a good friend. So I'm like, all right, man, you know, I'm not going to freak out. So a few minutes go by. We're still playing our game. Something else slams into that wall, super loud. Again, I look over at him like, what's going on here? And he's like, dude, I told you. So it happens again. And he's like, man, I'll show you in a little bit. And so we keep playing, but I'm getting really weirded out. And then all of a sudden, I can't describe it in any way other than it sounded like all of a sudden there was like a tornado in that room. Okay. Like it sounds like stuff is slamming into the walls. They're scratching against the walls. Like stuff is going crazy. And this goes on for several minutes, okay? And at this point, I'm not doing great, okay? I'm sitting there trying to tough through it, but like I'm not doing a great job. Anyway, this goes on for several minutes, and finally it stops. It just abruptly stops. And then several minutes go by, and then he's like, all right, I told you I'd show you, so like come look. So we get up, we go to this room. I'm freaking out. He opens the door. Everything in this room, in this walk-in closet, is like in the middle of the floor. Everything is torn off the hangers, everything, all of it's piled up. It's absolutely insane. And he's like, oh, this happens every once in a while, and it'll all be back on the hangers. Everything will be fine in the morning.
It's completely unbelievable, but is entirely true. I'll go first. When I was 8.
So I was babysitting for the first time this little girl. She's 3 years old. And it was going to be at night because her mom works nights. So I'd be with her till like 2 a.m. And her mom told me, she's not sleeping lately. I don't know what's going on. She won't go in her room. She won't lay down. Whatever you need to do to get her to sleep, just try. I said, all right, we'll figure it out. So it was late and there was no sign of her wanting to go in her room. I said, let's go lay down in your room. You know, it was 11. I think 11:30. So let's go lay down in your room. She goes, no. I said, why? And she goes, the baby's crying. And I said, I have no idea. You know, I didn't think anything of it. I thought maybe it was like a TV show she was talking about. And I said, no, let's go lay down in your room. So we went in her room and she goes, the baby's crying. And so at this point, I'm like, what baby? What baby? And she pointed up to the ceiling, at the corner of the ceiling, and she said, right there. He's crying. He's sad. She said, I don't want him to cry. And I was like, I am freaked out. So first thing that happened. And I said, okay, let's leave. Let's go to your mom's room. So we went to her mom's room. And she said, the tall man's in here. And I, full body goosebumps. I said, what tall man? Where? And she pointed to her closet and she goes, he lives there. Tall man. And I said, we're not staying in here. We're going into the living room. So we sat down in the living room and there's a couch. Behind me is a big window. So I think I had the news on. I don't know what I was watching. She's sitting there and she stood up and looked behind me and screamed. She screamed. And I was so like, I like thought someone was outside. So I looked. I swear to God, I saw the tallest shadow. It was like a shadow figure, tall. And it looked like it just swooped past the window. And it looked like he was wearing a wide-brimmed hat. And I was so freaked out. And she said, Hat Man, as soon as it happened. Hat Man, Hat Man, Hat. And my instinct is to run outside, but I went outside, so I didn't run outside. And so I honestly think I just stayed in the kitchen. I was like in the kitchen. And I was like, your mom's gonna be home soon. I'm just gonna stay here, okay? And the mom got home and I was like, yeah, she's not sleeping. I gotta go. I was so scared. So scared. I never went back. They never asked me to come back. I never went back, and they moved shortly after. We lost contact, so I don't know how they're doing. I hope they're okay. But that was the scariest thing that ever happened to me. Talking about it now gives me tears in my eyes because it just freaks me out so bad.
I wasn't even gonna tell this story, I was just gonna let it be, but I don't know if this is like paranormal, I don't know if this is just a weird situation, I don't know if this is me being a complete idiot, but maybe you guys can tell me in the comments because I'm really freaked out right now. So last night I was on my phone while I was like falling asleep, kind of like, not falling asleep, but you know when you're really tired but you're still like scrolling through TikTok or like texting someone, that's what I was doing. I was texting my boyfriend as I started like getting tired, and I put my phone down next to me, like on my bed, on my mattress, and I closed my eyes for like 2 seconds, but we all know what happens, like I ended up falling asleep. And then when I woke up this morning, I looked next to me and I was like, I did not mean to fall asleep that early. My phone wasn't like next to me anymore, it had fallen to like the white part right there. So I go to shut my alarm off, it ends up shutting off, but my phone screen just won't turn on. And this has happened to me before, like it's a stupid like glitch or something, but I tried to like shut it off the same way that I did last time and it just wasn't working. So I'm trying everything to get this to shut off and it just won't turn off. And in the process of trying to get it to turn off, my phone calls the police, and I had to nicely explain that I did not mean to call and my phone's just like tweaking for no reason. My phone's been acting weird the past like 2 days. Everyone's saying it's because of the new update, but I didn't update my phone, so I don't know what it's from. It's not because my storage is full, like I have like 50 gigs left of free storage, so I don't understand. Anyways, it's not working. I go into my parents' room to like look for a charger. I couldn't find one, so I started walking out, but they woke up, which I didn't mean to wake them up. I felt really bad. My dad's like, what's going on? And I told him, and then he like helped me turn it back on. So when my phone turns on, I'm like, okay, this whole thing's over. I can just like go back to sleep or something. And I'm looking through my text to like text my boyfriend and be like, I fell asleep. Like, I'm an idiot. Like, I didn't even mean to fall asleep that quick because I didn't even text him goodnight or anything. I just like passed out, and like I hate when that happens. Check our texts, and there's a text from me at 1:29 a.m. exactly. Keep in mind, I fell asleep around like, I checked the clock at like 12:30 and I was like, I can't believe I'm still up. Like, I'm tired, blah, blah, blah. And that's when I went to like rest my eyes before texting him back. And then I ended up falling asleep. Anyways, text was sent at 1:29 and it said, good morning with a red heart. No spelling errors, no nothing. It was the right emoji. Usually when you text someone in your sleep, like it's all gibberish. Like you just like lean on the keyboard and it's like letters, but I don't know. It was like a perfectly typed out text. There was like spaces between each word and like emoji, and I was just like, this is weird. If anything, I'm not sending a good morning text at like 1:30 in the morning. I'm sending a good night text. Like, and for a second I was like, maybe someone like hacked into my phone, but like I don't think that can happen. I don't know. Usually if your phone's like tapped or anything, you'd know. Hopefully that didn't happen. And then I was like, okay, well maybe someone like logged into my Snapchat, but like if someone had logged into my Snap on another device, like I would have been logged out, so no. This text was sent by me or someone that just came in my room and was on my phone, but no, that's not possible because I sleep with my door locked, and like when I woke up, my door was still locked. Also, just keep this in mind, like in order for me to like type out this text and send this text in my sleep, I would have had to roll over, grab my phone, unlock it with either my Face ID or my password, and like accurately type in my password with my eyes closed, or unless my eyes were open. That's creepy. I don't like to think about that. Like sleepwalking or like doing anything in your sleep like with your eyes open but you're like mentally like you're asleep. Like no, that's the creepiest thing ever. I hate that. I think Snap was already open. And like swipe over, specifically pick his texts and like text him. And then to fully type out with no spelling errors and the right emoji. What? Yeah, autocorrect is a thing, but to get the emoji right and like have no other emojis, like specifically pick out the red heart out of all of my recents, which is so random, and my recents are never like in a specific order, like they're always like switched around. Maybe, just maybe, I woke up for 2 seconds, but I feel like I would remember that, and also I wouldn't be sending a good morning text at 1:30 in the morning. Like even when I woke up, I knew that would not make sense. So I texted my boyfriend and I texted him on like messages and I was like, can you send a screenshot of our Snap conversation because it's like lagging? I just figured it was lagging. Like I was waiting for it to go back to normal and it never did. Apparently I texted him at 1:29 in the morning. I don't know, let me know what you guys think about this whole thing because I'm actually really creeped out. No, I'm just like freaked out. Like I don't know how to explain it other than that wasn't me. But like if that wasn't me, then who was it?
It's time for another scary story. This story takes place at my grandma's house, specifically in Maryvale area in Phoenix, Arizona. So this house has a lot of scary stories, but let me tell you the few scary stories that are very similar to each other that happened throughout the years. So there was this one specific time one of my grandma's sisters was living with her at the time, and she would get home around 2 a.m. in the morning from work. When she got home from work, she stated that she heard knocking coming from the glass sliding doors to the backyard. As she got closer, she said that she saw that it was a little boy knocking on the door. He was looking into the glass sliding doors and knocking at the same time. She stated that she turned on the lights to get a better view of the kid, but she said when she turned on the lights, he wasn't there anymore. That she went to the backyard, and when she went back there was nobody. It was empty, nobody was out there, so she just left back inside. That is so creepy, right? Wait, it gets creepier. This one time, my uncle, which is my dad's brother, was living with my grandma at the time. He stated that he was in his room with the door open, laying in his bed, so he had a view of the hallway from his bed since his door was open, you know. He stated that he saw a little boy peek into his room and just run back to the hallway towards the living room. He assumed it was me and my siblings with my parents for a surprise visit, like we always did. We always went for surprise visits to go see them. He was wrong. He got up after he saw the boy running towards the living room, and he said that when he checked the whole house, there was nobody there. He said that he checked the doors, they were all locked. He checked the windows, they were all shut, closed, and locked as well. He right away got creeped out. He ended up waiting in the front yard for my grandma to get home because he was that scared. Wait, there's more. There was this one specific time my great-grandparents were visiting from Mexico, and they always stayed with my grandma. My grandma said that late at night, my great-grandpa woke up yelling with pain. She obviously ran to him and said, "What is going on? What is wrong?" My great-grandpa told her that there was a little boy sitting on his leg and that it was hurting to get him off. My grandpa insisted on her getting that boy that was not even on his leg off of him. Guys, my grandma said she was so scared because there was nobody on his leg. She was so creeped out. There was this other time my grandma had her brother and his wife visiting her, and they had a young boy that was around 4 years old at the time. She said that that young boy interrupted their grown-up conversations and insisted on her to follow him to the hallway because he said that there was a little boy who wanted to talk to her. That boy was asking for Sylvia, which was my grandma. So my grandma said that the little 4-year-old pulled her by her hand and pulled her to the hallway and said, "He wants to talk to you. He's right there." My grandma said there was nobody there, obviously, and she was so creeped out because this isn't the first time she has heard of this little boy in her house. She told him, "There's nobody there." Like, "No, there's nobody there, mijo." Like, she said that he started crying, saying, "Yes, he is. He's right there. He wants to talk to you. Talk to him." One creepy thing about her house that always happens also is it's almost as if a little kid is messing with you. For instance, my uncle, my dad, and a lot of other family members that have stayed at my grandma's, because a lot of people actually have lived with her because she always invited people kindly, like, "You guys can live with me," when they needed somewhere to stay. Have stated that in the middle of the night they get the blankets pulled off of them, almost as if a kid's playing with them. Things end up going missing, and you literally find them in places you would have never thought you would find them. In other words, places you for sure know you did not put the stuff that went missing at. So those are the stories about my grandma's house. Let me know if this was a creepy story or not.
Tell me a ghost story.
I don't know what was in the air today, but guys, I had the trippiest, scariest, most paranormal day of my life. Starting off fresh in the morning. By 8 in the morning, everybody in the house left, so I'm home alone. Okay, whatever. I go back to sleep. At around 10 a.m., I get sleep paralysis. I halfly wake up and I'm not able to move. I'm like fighting demons to stay awake. Like my body keeps trying to go to sleep, but I'm just not letting it, because what the frick? Thank God I didn't see no shadow person, but I was just stuck in the same position and I could not move. While I was fighting these demons, I hear my front door open and somebody walked down the hallway to my mom's room, right? So I was like, okay, my mom got here early, period. Whatever. After I managed to break free, I try so hard to stay awake and I just go on my phone, because I'm not gonna go back to sleep after having that. What the hell? So I'm on my phone, and then it's around 11 and my mom walks in. I'm like, Mom, did you walk in twice already, or is this the first time you step in the house? No, this is the first time I walk in since 8. What are you talking about? Okay. Cute. Whatever. I'm gonna label it as if I was dreaming. I don't care. I'm not gonna look into it. I'm not gonna question it. Just drop it. Fast forward to the day me, my boyfriend, and 2 of his friends go exploring abandoned places. I know. What the hell was I thinking? Something was following us. Something was following us. There was noises, there was voices, there was a lady singing. Somebody threw a fucking bulb at us, bruh. I'm just gonna say it was a person messing with us for my own sanity. And we were recording. This was for a YouTube video, but the microphone didn't work, so we don't have the audio. Yeah, that's how my day went.
This is the scariest thing that's ever happened to me in my entire life, and I wasn't even planning on making a video today, but I feel like I need to get out of my system because I have been welling up with tears and having full body chills from being scared. If you know me in real life, that never happens to me, so I feel like I just need to get out of my system. So this is that story. This happened 4 years ago. I was a freshman in college, and I was talking to this boy at the time, and he caught me when I was coming home for the weekend from college, and he asked if he could take me stargazing. I say yes. He picks me up. It's maybe 11, 12 o'clock at night. He drives me to the state park specifically because I had never been before. And specific to note about this state park next to my hometown, it isn't, when I say in the middle of nowhere, I legitimately mean in the middle of nowhere. The closest gas station is like multiple miles away. Nobody lives near there. Yeah, you get the gist. So we get there. He originally parks in front of this watchtower. We're walking up the watchtower. Something to note about me. You're gonna learn about 2 of my fears today. I am afraid of heights. The tower starts shaking from the small amount of wind, and I immediately am like, hey, I don't like this. We're about halfway up. I don't like this. Let's go down. So he's like, okay, I actually thought you might be scared, so I have an alternate way for us to go look at the stars, but we have to walk through the woods. Usually, and before I get any comments about that, I know, okay? I know. The only reason why I went is because he was like, it's like 1.5 minutes through the woods. Perfect. 1.5 minutes. No worries. I shouldn't have listened to him because it was a 10-minute walk, if not more. It is so dark in those effing woods that you cannot even see your hand in front of your face. I'm walking through the woods. I'm doing fine. My other fear is the dark. Okay, I'm a full-grown woman. I am exponentially scared of the dark. Like, unrealistically scared of the dark. We're walking, we hit a fence, and not just any fence, a barbed wire fence. By this time, my eyes are fully adjusted in the dark, and out in the distance, I can see a barn. Right next to the barn, I see a big silo, and if you don't know what a silo is, it's just this big metal structure that holds corn where I'm from. A lot of farmers have them, and I immediately ask him, is this someone's land? He doesn't really answer me, and I'm like, no, seriously, is this someone's land? Because I'm not going to get shot tonight. Because where I'm from, they're not going to ask you on their 5 acres of land what you're doing on their land. They're just going to shoot you because they don't know who you are at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. Or I guess what you are. So finally he tells me it's someone's land, and I'm like, I'm not trespassing on someone's land. Like, no thanks. 3 strikes and you're out. I've walked through the woods. I have tried to conquer my fear of heights, and I'm walking in the dark. No. This is no. So finally he's like, okay, fine. Like, we'll go back to the car and I'll drive you home. As we're walking, I don't know what it was. The hair on the back of my neck suddenly stood up. I start to feel like someone is watching me. And all my girlies with anxiety like me, you know what I'm talking about. But this was different. This was different. This was like burning 2 holes in the back of my head because they're staring so hard. And it was so bad that I kept turning around and there was literally no one there. My eyes are fully adjusted at this point. There is no one there that I can see. And I start walking so close to this dude that I'm flat tiring his shoes, which means I'm like stepping on the back of his shoes every couple of steps, and he's getting super mad at me. But eventually I just grab his arm and I say, there is something out here with us. And I made sure to whisper it because at the end of the day, if there is a living human being out there, I don't want them knowing that I feel like something is wrong. And number 2, it was really quiet out there, like deafeningly silent. And he immediately tells me like, Elena, it's okay. Like your anxiety, it's okay. I understand that you're scared of the dark, but everything's gonna be fine. Like there's no one else out here. There's no other cars. Everything's gonna be fine. We take probably 3 steps and start to hear rustling. And immediately, this is when my breath literally is taken away. Like I'm like, I can't breathe. And again, he's like rubbing my back and he's like, it's okay. Like there is seriously no one else out here. You're gonna be fine. We're walking for maybe a minute. We have our flashlights out. From our right, a rock doesn't tumble out. It is thrown out into the middle of the path that we're walking. I mean, like, right in front of us. Like, someone threw it. This was a game time decision, right? Right. I left him in the woods. I ran so fast, I left him in the woods. I have never ran faster in my entire life. In all my running girlies, I ran for a minute. Sprinted for a minute. I get to his car and I'm trying the door handles and I immediately am going through all these scenarios. I'm like, what am I going to do if if there is a person in the woods? So I'm trying the door handles. I'm going to like literally every door and all of them are locked. And all of a sudden I hear him giggling and like jogging out of the forest. And he was like, that rabbit really scared me. A rabbit? And I probably look disgusting at this point, but I legitimately lost my mind on him. I was like, since when do rabbits pick up rocks and throw them at people? Since when has that ever happened? But anyways, we get in the car, we drive off. The whole time I'm asking him, what do you think that was? What do you think that was? Do you think that was a real person? Do you think that was a ghost? What was that? And I don't think he took me very seriously at the time because he was like, whatever. Needless to say, I never talked to him ever again. And now I will elaborate on why it's so scary to me. I don't think that was paranormal by any means. Because when you experience something paranormal, it's almost like an instantaneous thought, right? You're trying to rationalize. You're trying to go through the scenarios in your head on how it is possible that that happened. This was different. I have never felt so fearful in my entire life. And let me ask you this. When you get home late at night, maybe after a night out, or when you get home from work, school, etc., what do you think you're going to see when you turn the light on in your room? Probably some decor, probably your bed, your desk, maybe a pet lives there, I don't know. But you anticipate on what you're going to see because you're prepared for what you're going to see. I'm not comparing bedrooms in the woods, but I was not anticipating someone else to be out there because there's no cars out there. There was no way for someone to get out there if they didn't get there before the sun went down, if you catch my drift. And I think there's something, at the end of the day, there is something so deeply frightening about knowing someone was watching you the whole time. And there is something equally as frightening knowing you never saw them. And then you have to think about a plethora of things. Like, why was that person following 2 teenagers in the woods without making their presence known? How did that person get out into the middle of the woods in the middle of the night? I left a key part of the effing story out. When we got there and we got our little pass, the state trooper or whoever was working there told us that we were the last people going in. So be that as you may, moral of the story, you never know.